Rogue crossbow meta. Yep. I was talking to B about that. I think we got to Sweden. You guys want me to go over my whole Sweden trip? I can do that. We got to Sweden though, and I went to a bar with B, and we just were chatting, and crossbow meta came up. It's funny. Yeah, rogue crossbow meta sucks. As soon as that was gone, everything was so much better. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want, I can go through everything. Like my whole Sweden trip, start to finish. I can't tell you anything about Den of Wolves, but we can talk about my whole trip. It was pretty good. My trip to Sweden. So there's a lot of good.
And there was some really bad right at the end for the Sweden trip.
Overall, pretty good though. I got my emails. Surely this is a scam. The real 10 Chambers would not email me and say, hey, we're going to fly you to Sweden to play a game. Email back to say, yeah, sure, okay. You're the real 10 Chambers, I believe you. And I checked all the credentials and stuff, and I was like, this has to be the real 10 Chambers. Turns out it was. Shout out Calais. You're my favorite. Respond to all the emails, and they're like, okay, here's your information, here's your hotel, all that. Everything for your stay in Sweden. Thanks so much. I'll do it. All I gotta do is go to the airport. Everything sucked, and I almost didn't get to go. So I already had my passport. I didn't have to do any prep work. I was just communicating with them and staying up to date and being like, okay, here's your tickets, here's the itinerary, here's the hotel information. All you gotta do is get on the plane. Cool. I can do that. I just gotta print my ticket and get on the plane. So 24 hours before the flight to Sweden, I go to check in, and it's like, yeah, you need to check in at the airport. Okay, whatever. This happened on my last international flight. I'll just show up over 3 hours before the flight happens, and I'll check in, and then I'll get on the flight. That'll be it, right? So I get to the airport. I check in there. He's like, when was your flight again? I said, it's in like 3 hours. It's, here's all the information. He was like, the system was being a little weird, but I'm sure it's fine. And then he prints my ticket out. I was like, okay, I don't think anything of it. He just had to run my passport twice. It's probably fine, right? It wasn't fine. So I sit around for 3 hours, or two and a half hours. They start boarding everybody. I'm in the final boarding group. And so I'm supposed to get on like 10 minutes before the plane takes, is closed up. So I get over there, group 5, very last one. For anybody that hasn't traveled internationally out of the US, they scan your face and just verify that you're the person that you say you are and that you're supposed to be on the plane. And for the first time I've ever seen, I get my face scanned and it's like, beep beep, X, no. Okay, that's a little weird. So they're like, yeah, step off to the side here, sir. Okay, that's a little weird, but okay. Let us see your passport. They try to scan my stuff again and they're like, it doesn't think you have a ticket or that you don't have a booking at all. And I was like, I have this ticket right here. Has the seat been sat yet or anything? They were like, no, this looks right. This should be it. They were like, you're not showing in the system. And so we wait there, and it gets to the point where they normally have to close the plane up. They're like, okay, we're going to hold the door for you, but you have like 5 minutes, and then we have to close up and go. And I was like, okay. And they're just sitting there, like, one person's working. They're like, we're going to try to call ahead to Helsinki, which is where I was flying into. We're going to try to call to Helsinki and see if they can, verify this information. And I just hear the elevator music on the phone, the hold music, because they couldn't get through to Helsinki the entire time. A minute before that 5-minute timer was up. This lady's like, I fixed it for you, here you go. And the guy sitting next to her was like, what did you do? And she was like, I fixed it. I fixed it. They couldn't, like, explain how they fixed it or anything. They were just like, I fixed it. I was like, so I'm good to go? They were like, you're good to get to Helsinki. Good luck in Helsinki. I kid you not. They were like, they just all were like, good luck. Good luck. See if you can figure it out in Helsinki. And I was like, great. I'll be like 12-hour flight away from home. I'll figure it out. So I take my flight. The entire aisle is clear. It was one of those planes that has 9 in a row. 333. And the entire aisle was clear. Most of the plane was empty. So I've got all of this room to myself. I think I was just too hyped to get there. I couldn't sleep the whole time. So the boy woke me up at like 6 a.m. I landed at what would have been like 3 a.m. our time. So when I landed in Helsinki, I was already like almost 24 hours of no sleep. I ended up writing that out to like 36 hours of no sleep and like drinking with the lads. That was nuts. I recovered totally fine from it until I got home. But anyway, I ride totally alone in my aisle. Someone takes up the middle aisle and uses it as a bed. So we're just using entire aisles as beds, and I'm the only one that can't sleep on the flight. The food was all right. That was nice. But anyway, landed Helsinki. I messaged Calais and I'm like, I think I can't find my booking. I'm looking online, can't find my booking. I think the same problem happened. He was like, go to transfer services, see what they can do. They scanned my ticket and they're like, There you go. You just got reseated. That's all. I get on my flight, my 1-hour flight from Helsinki to Sweden, and it's packed, but it's not a big deal. It's just an hour. I read my book on the flight. I land. The Uber was like 40 minutes to the hotel in like downtown Sweden. I get there. I'm like, all right, lads, whom's up trying to drink? That's not. I normally am not like that. I don't normally drink, but all of them were, so I adapted to the environment. But I get to the hotel. And Beecroft, he's the only one that's like, I'm here, let's go get a drink. So I walk outside, and for the first time in the 7 years that I've known Beecroft, I get to walk up and say hello. I don't know if we hugged or shook hands. Most of us were hugging. I got to say hello to Beecroft for the first time in person in 7 years. That was nuts. Felt very interesting. He's like, let's go find a place to sit down. So we walk for 10 minutes till we find a pub. We sit down, he orders 2 Guinness. Guinness was the drink of choice for everybody. We're just chatting. I think he's the only other dad in the group out of the content creators, so kind of bonded over that. Just kind of chatted about stuff, you know. Payday obviously came up. What were we expecting for the game? How was the trip? How was the flight? All that. We just chatted for like 4 hours. Yeah, Guinness is good. I don't drink a lot of beers, but Guinness is good. It's a good one. Was the game good? I can't talk about it yet, and I feel like anything I say will feel like leaking. I really don't want to break the trust, so we'll talk about it soon. I'll make sure you guys know. Before I leak information I shouldn't. We stayed at the bar for a while. Everybody trickled in. I think Noli got there next, and then it was Mario in a top hat. Oh no, Safi was there with Noli, so it was Safi, Noli. Mario in a top hat pretty shortly after, or maybe that was flip-flopped. Red Archer didn't meet us there that night. Neither did Astral Spiff. Am I forgetting anybody? I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Grouse showed up last. Sometime partway through, I think Noli was messaging Elizabeth and was like, hey, we're in town if you want to come drink. And she was like, heck yeah, I'll come drink. So she came and got food, got drinks, had some banter, as you do. The baby is having a nightmare. Poor guy was not having any of it. All right. Back to the story. No more putting babies down. No more beating up babies. Where was I? We met up with Elizabeth. I think Noli messaged Elizabeth and was like, hey, come hang out. So we chatted with Elizabeth and just hung out. She had food, drinks with us, and then she brought the bags. If you guys didn't see that, I put a video on my channel. She brought the bags for all of us, and so we took those back to the hotel. Hog, cool. I didn't see her again after that. Everybody else went out to drink a little longer, but like I said, I was at like 36 hours of no sleep by the time we were leaving that bar, and they were going to another bar. It was like 10 p.m. I was like, sorry, fellas, I'm going to sleep. So I went back to the hotel and I slept for 8 straight hours like a rock. I did not move. And then woke up and we had our first day at 10 Chambers. I'm not going to go into too much detail just because I don't want to break any NDA on that. But I think the only thing I can't talk about is Den of Wolves. So I'll talk about the getting there and then a little bit about being there. But yeah, we got up. We'll say day 1 of 10 Chambers Day. We got up and met the community managers. I don't know what their titles are. Calais and Vlad. They were fantastic. They're the ones that, you know, booked and got us out there. I think that was technically Calais was the one. Met us out in the hotel lobby. I got up and had breakfast. I woke up at 6 sharp. Was at breakfast at 6:30 when it opened, and I had coffee, I think, almost for an hour before someone else showed up. It was Grouse, I think, that stopped by first, and then everybody else trickled in. The breakfast was fantastic. Coffee was fine. It was just coffee. Breakfast was great, though. Everybody had a good time. We met Astral Spiff was there. It was pretty cool meeting him. I think he was like the biggest creator there. So really cool. He was a very nice guy. Just chatting with him was great. We didn't get to talk a whole lot, but it was nice talking to him whenever I did. We all met up with the community guys and walked to 10 Chambers from the hotel. It was not too far. We got to walk through a nice like main street area of Stockholm. We got there. They had us go upstairs and take our shoes off because they're a no shoes establishment. So feel free to make some jokes about that one now at my expense. You have 30 seconds. All right. So we take our shoes off. They give us some slippers, some nice GTFO slippers. None of them really fit Grouse or me because we're large American men, but walking around with my socks on and nothing else. They took us down to the main floor where we spent most of our time. Did someone steal the GTFO slippers? Yes, one person did. I'll let you try to guess who it is. It wasn't me. I can tell you that it wasn't me, but one person did. They showed us to the main floor. It was very nice. They've got everything there. I really wish I could have taken pictures. They didn't allow any pictures on that floor. If I turn this into a video, I'll flash some pictures on the screen here, if I remember, assuming editing me remembers. But I have pictures from the lobby of the area where we could take pictures. And then the only other photos I got was a photo with Simon Vickland on the floor that we couldn't take photos. So I specifically was like, hey, Simon, can I just get a quick photo? And so 3 of us lined up and took some photos. Yeah, the whole floor we couldn't take pictures, which was sad, but they had all kinds of cool stuff there. They had the 10 Chambers table was the big one. It was a giant metal 10 Chambers logo in the form of a table. And that's where we spent most of our time. I'll go over the itinerary of everything that we did in a separate conversation on this, because that'll include my Den of Wolves chat and everything about that. It's on the 10 Chambers table, dude. We saw the table. But yeah, we'll go over that whole itinerary later. Spent the whole day there at 10 Chambers for the most part. And then I think that was the day we went back to the hotel, washed up, and then basically just met them out to get taxis for dinner. So we grabbed some taxis. We all went over to dinner. That was a pretty solid night of dinner. Okay, so at this point I've met Victor Vickland. He's a great dude. Love chatting with him. It was so fun talking with him. He was just always hanging out and just doing stuff, man. Very, very warm, easy to talk to. But we went to this bar, and it was like a gamer-themed bar. No, we got there, and the whole menu was gamer-themed. And so, for example, the drink I had was called the Healing Gourd, and it was based on the gourd from Sekiro, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. And it was really good. It was like, I think it was like Jameson with an orange taste, basically. So it was kind of like a nicer old-fashioned, or like a stronger orange-flavored old-fashioned. I had like 2 of those, maybe 3. They had a lot of funny ones. Do you guys have any guesses what kind of gamer drinks they had? They had some, they were pretty modern. They were not outdated. Gamer milk, yes. Milk from Minecraft was a drink. Minecraft milk bucket. Gamer milk was apparently a good guess. So yeah, the milk bucket from Minecraft. It was a mixed drink. It wasn't just a glass of milk. They had mana potion, I think, from World of Warcraft. They had... Surprised nobody jumped straight on this one. They had a Juggernog shot from COD Zombies and a Deadshot daiquiri. And the big one. Mario in a top hat walked in, read the menu, was like, I have to get the funny one. I'm getting the Fortnite Slurp Juice. And the Fortnite Slurp Juice came in a jar. It was blue, bright blue. I really would like to know what color his urine was. He said it was a little fruity, like tasted really fruity and strong. It was a great bar. It's apparently an award-winning bar. The head bartender showed up and talked to us a little bit. Anyway, that was fun. I think Victor had like a Half-Life 2 drink, or like a Half-Life themed drink. But yeah, a gamer bar. If I can remember the name, I'll have to tell you guys. But everything was in Swedish, so the odds of that happening are like 1%. You should make a medic bag drink. It kills the drinker instantly. So we were in, yeah, just this little bar area. They were like, okay, grab your drinks. All of us heard down your drinks. So Safi pounded his drink, and that was fun. And they were like, we'll go next door to the actual restaurant. So literally just like we walk door, alleyway, door. We end up in the restaurant. And it's just a big room that can fit all of us. It was about 15, I think. And they were like, okay, you have 2 options for appetizers, 3 options for mains, and 2 options for dessert. And we all chose them based off that. And of course, we kept on drinking. I did not show it because I am very good at handling my alcohol respectfully. But I was getting trashed. I was getting pretty dizzy by the end of dinner, but I sobered up pretty quick before we left. They were just like, yeah, get whatever drinks you want, man. So I was like, okay, I'll have a bourbon on the rocks. Just a well bourbon on the rocks. And I had 3 of those after 2 Sekiro drinks, which were Jameson based. So yeah, I was getting a little hammered by the end. 2 more of those and I would have been, I wouldn't have remembered anything. Grouse outdrank everybody, dude. He's a gamer when it comes to the drinks, dude. He suggested, like, I think it was Old Turkey was one of the, I had one of those on the rocks. It was good. We had dinner. My appetizer was burrata. So it's just a big thing of burrata with some spices and stuff. Burrata's a cheese, by the way. I had lamb as my main. Oh, Seaman would know burrata's good. Burrata's fantastic for all kinds of stuff. I had lamb as my main, and then I had like, I think it was like a lemon cake for dessert. Yummy, yummy. My favorite thing I would like to say about the dinner was when we walked in, they were like, there's a Bluetooth speaker for the entire room. You can just go to that door over there, open it up, hit the Bluetooth button, and link up to it. Victor, who was a few drinks down when we walked in, was like, I have the perfect idea. We're playing music in here. This is Simon Vickland's brother, by the way, the musical genius Simon Vickland. So I'm sure Victor's playlist is fantastic, right? He's going to play something immaculate and incredible. He walks over, connects his phone, and he turns on a video of 10 hours of Wii channel music, Wii shop music. Vlad, sitting next to him, goes absolutely ballistic nuts laughing. We let that go on for maybe 30 minutes before Mario in a top hat was like, I'm putting on my own music. And so he had the aux. That was it for dinner. It was a great dinner. Fantastic. They covered all that for us. It was great. Very, very thankful for them doing all that. We taxied back home. I rode with Spiff and Victor in the taxi. So I got to chat with him a little bit. Yeah, Minecraft music would have gone hard. I'm trying to think. No, yeah, dinner was just, it just ran really late. I only got like 5 or so hours of sleep that night. We woke up for day 2 of 10 Chambers stuff, which was a lot more chill. There was a lot more relaxed chat. I am comfortable talking about who I met that day, which was very exciting. We were able to talk to Simon Vickland, just kind of sit and chat with him as a squad. That was really fun. Ulf Anderson was in the building, and we got to speak to Anders' last name. I can't remember his last name. It was a full Swedish last name, so it was tough. I could easily find his name though. But Anders was the guy who made all of the Payday 1 and 2 masks, and I think he did a lot of the character design for it. And then he did all of the character design for GTFO. So sitting in front of me was Simon Vickland, the guy who made all the Payday 2 music and his Bane. And then the guy who made all of the masks and stuff. So that was a really interesting chat. We got to see some old concept artwork for stuff. Cool stuff. All the Payday 2 masks? Not all of them. I don't think it was all of them. Good chunk of them. A lot of the original ones. But yeah, the guy behind a bunch of that. Probably the infamous masks too? I think so. Gagball was mentioned. So that was a fun conversation. We had that chat. I'm not at liberty to say anything else that we did. That was pretty much it. We went to dinner again. Or except half of us went to go meet Mio and hang out with Mio a little bit and just chat with him. See how he's doing. Mio's doing well, by the way. He's also doing well at Street Fighter Third Strike. I know from personal experience, being on the receiving end of it. We walked over to the dinner, which was like 2 or 3 minutes away. And so this entire time I'm hearing, yeah, we're going to Mexican for dinner. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can judge the Mexican food here a lot. I live in Texas, so I'm used to like Tex-Mex and like authentic Mexican food and stuff. And we get there and it's Mexican themed. So I ordered 2 drinks. I think 3 maybe while we were there. All kinds of different ones in Spanish. And then they're like, okay, we're bringing out the food. It's like a set meal. I've got Simon Vickland on my left, Mario in the top hat on my right, Safi in front of me. And so they bring out dinner. It is not Mexican food, dude. It is Mexican themed, Swedish Mexican food. They bring out 2 tacos. One of them is like a beef tartare. The other one's like a seafood taco. A fried mussel sitting on just a mountain of pink Himalayan salt. It was pretty alright. They did cater lunch actually one day, Liberty. We had Swedish meatballs, so that was good. They catered lunch 2 days, but one of them was Swedish meatballs. Beef tartare taco, like seafood taco, fried mussel, on the salt for some reason, some like cup of something. Yeah, it wasn't Mexican food at all, C-Man. I was a little disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. That was the first course. Second course was like 3 small, like these were all street taco size, by the way, C-Man. These ones are like a shrimp taco, a fried chicken taco, and then like some other really weird one that had like this very pickly flavor to it, like pickled something flavor. That was interesting, but it was fine. And then dessert was like another lemon cake, I think. No, maybe that was like an ice cream. It was like an ice cream sandwich type of thing. It was good. And then I said, Bill. That was the end of dinner. A bunch of us left with Simon. I think all of us. Just about all of us left with Simon, and we went to like this kebab place. Got more dinner, but I was pretty full, and I was feeling a little nauseous at the time, so I didn't get anything. But we all just sat around at like 11:30 p.m. Swedish time, eating a kebab, buzzing with alcohol, and then we went back to the hotel and said goodbye to each other. And then when I flew home, I took an Uber with Red Archer and Martin Top Hat because we were all flying out around the same time at like, I think Gross flew out at like 4 a.m. Mine was at 8 and theirs was like 8:30 or something. And so we took an Uber together. We got to the airport. I get to my flight. Everything goes off without a hitch. I was able to check in the night before. I get to my flight. It's 1 hour back to Helsinki and then back to DFW, Dallas. I'm praying when I'm at the Helsinki airport. Please let there not be too busy of a flight. I'm exhausted. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully I got good seats. Hopefully nobody's sitting next to me. All the same stuff you have when you have a flight. So naturally, I get on my flight. which has like 5 crying babies on it. I'm in the middle row, middle seat, and I'm seated right in front of the toilets. So there's not a seat in front of me, which means I don't have a seat, tray table, or TV in front of me. It all pops out of my chair and it's all flimsy and horrible. The plane is entirely full, so I have men sitting to my left and right. I have incredibly broad shoulders. They spill out of the chair because my shoulders are so broad. So that's that. I finally am on a flight where I can sleep, so I'm exhausted. I sleep maybe an hour or two of the 11, 12-hour flight, something like that. It went long, so I think it was intended to be just under 12 and ended up being just over 12. Crying baby in the back, which is setting off my dad's sense. When you have a baby, it's much worse for women that have the baby, like the ones that have the baby. But when you're a dad and you hear crying, you go into almost like panic mode. It's like adrenaline mode, you know? I can feel my heartbeat picking up type of thing because there's a baby crying. And you know, my baby makes those noises. Is my baby okay? Type of thing. Anyway, paternal instinct kicks in and it's just like 3 times worse at least than when you don't have a baby. Yeah, new perk deck. Dad mode. Next time get earplugs. I had some and I definitely should have used them. But I don't think it would have helped. I would have still been able to hear a little. Next time I'm taking Becca's noise cancelling headphones. Anyway, get back. Everything goes fine through customs. I take an Uber home. I get home. And it doesn't end here. The next day, we're going to the Dallas Arboretum. So I have to wake up Saturday morning at, I think we get up at like 7 o'clock so that we can get to the Dallas Arboretum at 8:45. It's an hour, almost an hour drive for me. We get there, I walk around the entire Arboretum for a few hours with my baby and my wife and my family, or like the rest of my family. And then frickin' we get home and I lay on the couch and I'm like, Becca, I just need to lay down for a minute. I'm just gonna take a little nap. I didn't get enough sleep on the trip. Pass out for 3 hours, help her get the baby ready for bed, go to sleep with the baby at like 6:30. Don't wake up until like 8 a.m. the next morning. Holy crap, was I exhausted. I think the adrenaline rush from like why I was there was the only thing fueling me. I slept so long that night, but that was my whole Sweden trip. That was the whole thing. So it was a very good time. I had a great time. I'm really excited. Yeah, I used Stoic, bro. Stoic kept me going through the whole trip. I had a great time. I'm really excited to talk about Den of Wolves when we can. The moment we're allowed to talk about it, I think I will have 3 different videos dropping all at the same time. And I'm planning to be live on Twitch. So I don't know if I can tell you when that is. But yeah, 3 videos. And I'm not the only creator doing that too, dude. I'm sure there's also going to be just about everybody else that was there. At least I would say 2 videos. From them as well. So expect a big content drop from all the lads. I'm excited though. As soon as we're able to talk about it, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing when we're talking about it. I know exactly how I'm going to phrase everything. I've been thinking about this so much. So I'm excited. I can't wait to talk about it. It's gonna be incredible.